Good morning, friends. Welcome to Community Coffee with Trena and Renee.
Good morning, everybody. It's so nice to see you today, this fine summer day, July the 11th. Woo, we waited a long time.
I know this summer's going to be done and over with before we know it.
Yes, it will be. So we hope everybody has had a terrific summer so far with COVID restrictions being a little bit more relaxed. But we just want to remind you that if a business that you go into is requesting that you wear a mask, even though you've been vaccinated, even though you've had all of your shots, please please wear the mask. It's not going to hurt you that much to walk in the store with the mask on. I actually have a clear mask now that I wear when I go out, and they can still see my beautiful face and my makeup. So please adhere to some of the regulations that are still in place. It's nothing to fight about, it's nothing to argue about. We're just trying to keep everybody safe.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Well, today, as you see, it is Renee and I.
Yay!
And we usually have a guest on with us, and we decided to do something a little different and have Renee as our guest. She is going to be on her way to Las Vegas here this
Yeah.
upcoming week to compete in it's actually an international pageant, correct, Renee?
Yes, it is. I will be competing in the Mrs. Classic Universe pageant in Las Vegas, Nevada. Here I come. Woo, woo, woo.
That's so exciting. I know that you've done a lot this year, actually, for the last 2 years, couple of years.
Yes, yes.
And you have been an advocate for domestic violence. And I've noticed that you've actually kind of tagged on another component to your platform because it is relevant, and that's
Yes,
the human trafficking component to it. Can you tell
yes.
us a little bit more about it?
So we all know that domestic violence has many roots to it, right? So we have bullying, we have gun violence, we have domestic physical abuse between male and female. And I was asked to do a Zoom call on sex and human trafficking because now in the country, sex and human trafficking has become very, I mean, we only hear about it in the foreign countries where they're kidnapping droves of young ladies. But here in the United States, and particularly in the Philadelphia area where I live at, it appears that in Kensington, Bucks County areas, trafficking has become very high and it's not being talked about. So we were asked to do a Zoom seminar on it and we find out where the statistics are with it, what our views are on it, and what things that we think should be put into place to help to educate the community. So, from last report, 73% of the sex and human trafficking that is occurring in the United States, 73% taken are women, 43% are children, and 16% are males. And the ages are ranging from 3 years old up to 100. I mean,
Wow.
it is crazy. It is, and like I said, we don't hear much about this. But I remember last year, my sister Loretta, Loretta passed away last year. We all remember in August of 2020. And when I would go and visit her, she lived in that section of Kensington, Frankfurt area, and she would tell me, "Please be careful, Renee. Please be careful. They're snatching the women and the girls off the street." And we thought that she was just, because of the medications and everything, we just thought that maybe she was exaggerating. She said,
Right.
no, I go out and I feed the homeless. And I'm telling you, they are literally taking the young ladies off the street, two and three at a time, driving up in a big white van, opening the door, two people jump out, snatch the young ladies. And after that, nobody ever hears anything about them.
Right.
So my goal is to go out and speak about this and to tell people they need to be aware of their surroundings, be aware of what where they're going and what they're doing, and look around you. Watch around you. If you're driving in a car and you notice that a car has been following you for, let's say, 15 minutes, and every time you switch a lane, they switch a lane, that's something to be cautious about. Don't get out your car. Somebody hits you, has an accident and hits you, bumps you in the back. Okay, drive to a near population where there's a lot of people going on. Don't get out your car. Call 911. It's very important because they watch you. They watch your routine. So for me, when my sister made me aware of that, I stopped driving the same way to work every day. I stopped taking the same route to the market every time I went to the market. I did something different.
Mm.
I now stop at my son's shop before I go on to my journey, and I'll stay there a few minutes and but it's time to stop being silent. It's time to, if you see something, don't jump in it and try to help out because you might put yourself at risk. But it's
Right.
it's nothing to dial 911 and say something looks suspicious. It looks like there's a man following a group of young ladies. It looks like there's a man that's arguing with a woman. He hit her car. It's time for us to stop being silent and start speaking up. It's very.
Absolutely.
Mhm,
I know I'm
mhm,
more diligent in my surroundings because I do a lot of things by myself. I travel
yeah,
alone,
mhm,
across the US. And so I'm always diligent, being mindful of where I pull in and
mhm,
make sure that I'm in a well populated area. And even in the stores, I'm checking out my surroundings. I used to work for a college system, and so I was very mindful of looking at where exits, so that
mhm, mhm.
mindset, there's nothing wrong with it. It's unfortunate that we have to think that way, but we are in a day and age that we do. Whether you're a male or female, as you mentioned, this is not just a woman thing that women are
Yes,
being, taken. And
yes,
I know I've seen a ramp of people that I personally know on social media that are posting stories that have actually happened to them. It's not a copy and paste, from somebody else's, because that
right,
tends to
right.
happen too. But this is an actual
Actual
incident
story. Well,
that happened. Yeah.
when I returned back to work, because we're back in the office now, and one of my coworkers, when she found out what my platform was, she said, Miss Renee, I rode to the mall and was getting out of my, no, I rode to the mall, she said, went into the store and went shopping. When she came out of the mall, she saw this Mercedes Benz sitting in the handicap space next to her car. The Mercedes Benz had no handicap tags on it. Brand new Mercedes Benz, she said. She goes and she gets into her car, and another Mercedes Benz, same identical car, pulls up and blocks her where she could
Oh,
not get out. And I said to her, well, what did you do? She said, I just sat there and I just thought about it. What's going on? Why is this car here? The two people got out the car. They were both men. They looked at her car. They looked at her. I said, well, at that point, you should have been blowing your horn, bringing
yeah.
attention. You should have been on the phone dialing 911. Your phone should not have been in your pocketbook. She said, well, I didn't think anything was going to happen. I said, well, I'm explaining to you now. This is how they do things. And if you
Yeah.
watch CSI or any of those criminal stories, you
They're
will
based
see.
on true events, right?
And people think that, listen, that people think that all of this stuff is fiction. Believe me, it's not. They tell
Hmm.
you this is not based on a true story. They tell you this is based on the true story. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. Okay.
Right.
We as women have to be more cautious because they're snatching 73% of the snatchers are women. And let me tell you something, it takes nothing for them to cut my hair, cut your hair, dye it, put contact lenses in our eyes, drug us up, and in 2 days we're in another country
Right.
where our families know nothing about us. Our lives are changed forever. There was a story that came out, I think it was a month ago, that this young lady had been missing for 10 years. 10 years. Guess where the lady, who, well, she's now a lady, but guess where the child was living for 10 years that had been adopted? Oh my goodness, I get so
She was snatched,
overwhelmed with it.
abducted.
Abducted, yes,
Yes.
where this young lady, I mean, this is a passion now. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So
Yeah.
I get so emotional when I'm talking about this young lady had been abducted as a child,
Hmm.
10 years old, 10 years prior to when she was found, right? Well, guess where they found her?
A block away. I've heard stories where they have found them a block away.
This young lady was next door,
Wow.
next door to her parents and her siblings for 10 years. Now,
Wow.
how do you hide somebody
Yeah,
like
it
that?
happens. It happens. And as you mentioned, it's young boys too. So we
Yeah.
have to be diligent in watching our children. I have a grandchild and another grandchild on the way. And so, you know, you have to be mindful of your surrounding and not just take it for granted that, okay, my grandson is over there, he's almost 4,
Mm-hmm.
he's okay, being a boy. But
Mm-hmm.
no, we have to still
Mm-hmm. No,
be
he's not.
mindful of our surroundings.
Well, here in the tri-state area, in Jersey, they're still looking for this young boy. The young boy is still missing. He was abducted out of a playground while his mother and her sister were sitting in a car, and he and his sister were out playing in the playground. We still have not found out any information about him, where he is, or what happened to him. So, we as parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, just like we say, if you see something, it's okay to call 911. If you hear a child screaming for 12 hours straight, there's something going on in that household. You need to
Yeah.
make a call to the police and just do a wellness check. If you
Right.
have senior citizens, what I'm finding out in Bucks County, which is the new area that I'm supposed to be moving to shortly. In Bucks County, our senior citizens are being attacked both financially, physically, they're being assaulted. This is another form of domestic violence.
Hmm.
And what's happening is people are watching. So if you have a senior citizen that's living in a home by themselves, they come and go to the market, they go to the bank. Somebody who's watching them for months. Maybe all it takes is 1 month to watch them, right? They're watching them. Then they come up and they befriend them. What's happening with our seniors? They're lonely. Some of them don't have anybody. They don't have any children. They don't have any grandchildren. They don't have any brothers or sisters. So they're very lonely. So
Hmm.
they're opening their doors up. Oh, come on in. Hi, how you doing? They befriend them. Next thing you know, these people are moving into their homes, abusing them, stealing their money, beating them up, and they so afraid, that they don't know what to do. And by the time anybody knows anything in the government, they're deceased,
Mm,
right? So
that's
we
so
we have
scary.
to go back to the way things used to be, where your neighbor knocked on your door and said, "Hi, how you doing?" Or your neighbor, like for me, when my kids were growing up, they went to the next door neighbors who were older. They cut their grass, they mowed their lawn, they swept their front, they shoveled the snow. All of those things were acts of kindness when we were growing up. Now those things are not happening anymore.
No, and as you mentioned the story about the
The
kid being
kid being
found
found
next
next.
door,
Hmm.
I think, if you get to know your neighbors, you're going to also get that intuition of something's not right. And so that also helps you be more mindful of your surroundings is getting to know your neighbors and knowing who you can trust or who you have that good feeling about and get to know more.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
and I mean, as senior citizens, I'm considered a senior citizen next year. You
That's
know what
so
I'm
hard to
saying?
believe. Yes.
So next year, I'm going to be considered statistically as a senior citizen. I don't act it, I don't look it, I don't walk it, but I would be prey to somebody. My sons decided that uh, when this new house came about, okay, mom, that's it. No more living by yourself. You're going to come and move in with us. And I couldn't argue with them. You couldn't argue with them about it, because you're looking around and you saying, oh my goodness, is somebody watching me? I mean, I literally like look over my shoulder. I literally like have my phone in my hand. I now carry mace, which I started carrying mace about 2 months ago. I got mace for my oldest granddaughter. I'm like saying to myself, this stuff is real. This is not a joke. This is not something we can laugh and talk about. This is for real. These things are
Yeah, it's
happening.
like that song. Do you remember from the 80s? Somebody's always watching me.
Yes. Somebody's watching you.
Yes, yes.
Who was that sang that song? Let me think about this.
Was
Somebody's
that
watching. Air Supply or Phil Collins. One of those guys.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm horrible at remembering names of different people and so forth. But
Right. And
so
our other. Go ahead.
oh,
I'm sorry.
what I was going to ask is, so all these things are going on, and I know that you've done the order the pizza video, and now you've done this workshop for recognizing and being aware of your surroundings for human and sex trafficking.
Yes,
What?
let me before you go ask me that question, let me
Mhm.
mention the name of the organization for anybody out there that suspects or would like to be a mentor or would like to sponsor. The organization is WAHT, which stands for Women Against Human Trafficking. And the CEO of that organization is Bev Chandlin, Chandlin, and she has been supporting the Pennsylvania Queens uh, this year on our journey to the crown. So a big shout out to her. And at the end of the post, we'll put up the contact information for everybody to
Absolutely.
join if they want to participate in that organization. And then there's another organization, excuse me, that Trina and I are both associated with, which is in Africa, and we are supporting Kissamu, KISMU, Ladies of Hope. And this is an organization that helps women in Africa who have been sexually abused, have been in sexual and human trafficking. And these are young girls between the ages of 12 and 21 years old, and this organization helps them also get back into society by going to school, helping them get their lives together. And some of them have children. So these two organizations, Trina and I, work together with Kissamu. I hope I'm saying it right, Millie. Please don't hang me. But it's spelled KIS, KISS.
We'll
KISUMU.
Yeah, and we'll put the link for their Facebook group in the
Yes.
comments after the show. I know one of the things that we're trying to help with them is they're have put together an Amazon wish list, which
Yes.
has school supplies and women's needs, etc. And
Yes.
as you know, school's going to be starting here shortly. It's hard to believe that the summer is just going by so quick. So we'll put all that information available in the comments below,
Yes.
just so that
Yes.
if you would like to support or join their Facebook group to learn about what's going on with them and how you can support them, that would be
Yes.
wonderful.
And that would be mean so much to us if you could help in some kind of way. And like we for the Kishimu, we would love for you to go to the link and look at what they need from Amazon. They need diapers, they need baby needs, they need lotions, deodorants, things that we take for granted in the third world countries are not readily access to them. It's a little
Right.
difficult to make a monetary donation to Kissimmee because they are in another country, but you can help by sending the items, their wish list items to them, and that would be a tremendous, tremendous help to them.
Yes. Thank you for mentioning that, Renee. Now,
Mm-hmm.
I want to now get to the nitty gritty. Now that we've covered some of your platform background, and I want to know. So many people think of pageantry, and they have so many different ideas about it and connotations, and they just see a pretty girl type of thing. But there's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of preparation that goes into getting ready to compete. So
Yes.
tell me, what are some of the things that you have done to get ready for this competition?
So, when I entered into this contest, it was like 2 months ago. So I didn't have like a 6 month prep time. So I came right out of the United States running to this next pageant, right? So it is a lot of work that goes into it. It's a lot of deciding on your clothing, your what type of outfit you're going to wear as far as this bathing suit or whether you're going to wear resort wear. The other prep thing is the mental prep to start speaking at different events, to start uh, meeting people who have not known you. Right now, I'm up to a 5,000 following on all social media platforms. And I have people now who meet me at places and say, "Oh, you're Miss Pennsylvania." It's a long title, I forget. but they they ask me, what do I have to do? And the most important thing is to feel confident in yourself and what you're doing. For me, pageantry has been a blessing. It has built my self-esteem, and I hope that I have been able to be an influencer to older, what I call seasoned women. I no longer use senior or anything like that. Seasoned women, mature women who have walked through many trials. There are some women out there who feel as though they could never be anything more than the abused wife or the woman who stays at home and does the cooking and the cleaning. Well, I'm here to tell you that 60 years old was when I got into my first pageant and I won first place. And then now here I am competing again for the state of Pennsylvania in an international world pageant where I'm competing against women from Japan, India, Russia, China, Canada, United States, with women from all around the world. So who knew that my domestic violence would propel me some 40 years later into the spotlight where I have my own radio show now and September the 26th, I will be receiving an honorary doctorate in business, ministry, and music. So I never dreamed that I would be called Dr. Renee Reynolds. But because of my walk and my journeys into pageantry, I am now a public figure, and I'm able to use my platforms to advocate for domestic violence, advocate for sex and human trafficking, advocate for cancer, and advocate for women around the world who are afraid or don't have a voice to get up and stand up for themselves. I am going to be that voice. I am going to continue when I win the title as Miss Classic Universe to promote well being for our society and go before legislators and ask for laws to be put into place that will help women who are afraid to come forward, whether it's a year or whether it's 20 years later, to speak and have a voice and be a part of society again.
Absolutely. Now, you said something that just triggered. You mentioned going to speak at legislator with the legislators.
Yes.
Tell me about that, because sometimes people think about, again, pageantry and the beauty, and they forget about the interview component, they forget about the public speaking component. But you can be an advocate for individuals who have gone through domestic violence, and you can go and speak to lobbyists. You can become a lobbyist. You can make change in legislation. What are some of the things that you're working on to make that happen?
So I'm in contact with here in Pennsylvania. I'm in contact with our governor's office, Governor Tom Wolf. With COVID, it has been very difficult to get into any of the legislative offices, but I'm working with um, Mr. Jerwin, who is the head of staff with Governor Wolf, to set me up some appointments as soon as his calendar can free up a little bit, because with COVID, everybody's been so focused on COVID.
Right.
I'm also working with the Bucks County District Attorney's Office, and we're in the process of setting up some schedules for me to come in and talk to the offices there to talk about the human and sex trafficking. With the pageant being so close, it's been very difficult for my time because, like I said, we normally have a 6-month prep time where we can go and we can visit with people and meet people. But right now, it's been very, very difficult to get into these offices because they have a backlog with COVID. They have a
Right.
backlog with people coming in about losing their homes because of COVID. They didn't have jobs, so they didn't have finances. So all I'm doing right now is writing letters. When they have town halls, I go to the town halls and I speak at the town halls. I give people my contact information. To date, this year, I was able to help a young lady from, I'm not going to say where she was from, get out of a domestic abuse marriage, which was both physical and mental. And we helped move her out of that location. I thank Lisa and Star because they both helped get this young lady out of this situation. And now she is a motivational speaker for others who are going through domestic violence. So there's a lot of programs that we can get involved with. Women Against Abuse, Domestic Abuse of Delaware County. I'm sure in your state, in Atlanta, there's a lot of programs going on there as well. When I win
Yes.
the title of Miss Classic Universe, I will be doing a lot of traveling. So I'm going to count on you, Trina,
To
to
bring it
schedule
here to
my
Atlanta.
yes, to schedule my meetings for Atlanta because it's time for us to stop being silent. It's time for us to participate in making things better. No, it's not going to happen overnight. It may take a year, it may take a year, 2 years, it may take 10 years, but we have to start doing something. We are all valuable individuals, every last one of us, whether you're black, white, orange, green, yellow, male, female, it doesn't matter. We're all valuable, and it's not right for anyone um, to be abused by physical abuse, emotional abuse, mental abuse, financial abuse. It is not right. That's not the way God intended life to be for us.
Absolutely. And, whether you have a pageant title or not,
Mhm.
pageantry is a great way to build up your public speaking skills and to build up, your interview skills. But that's not absolutely the only way that you can get involved. As
Yes.
Renee mentioned, there's several organizations in her community. I know there's a coalition in my community that you can get involved with. So there's so many ways that you can dive in and get connected in your community. It's just a
Yes.
matter of taking some time and researching and finding how you can get involved.
And another thing that we're finding out is our seasons in the citizens are starting to put little groups together where they are becoming advocates for themselves, which is something that is very rare. But now they're tired of being trapped in their homes where they can't go out. They're tired of worrying if they're going to be safe. So now they're starting their own little safeguard groups. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
great.
That's great. To
Yes.
protect themselves. So I mean, a person could even start a small group like that. Um, you know, they used to have town watches. Many sections of the here in Pennsylvania no longer have those, but there are a few out there. So the other thing that's important to do is when you're going to vote, vote for the people who come out into the community and meet with you. Vote for people who have the same ideas that you have, who are for safety, who are for diversity, who are for unity. These are the people that you need to have in office because these are the people who care about the community. And when they don't do the things that they promised to do when they were running for office, then you need to make sure that you're on the phone with them. Look, I voted for you because you said XYZ. Hold them accountable. We need to hold our representatives accountable for their actions as well. Don't take money out of one community that is failing and put it in another community that is prospering. We all need to work to build up our communities. If we need more police, then bring in more police, hire more police officers, but screen them more carefully.
Right.
Everybody that's a police officer is not bad, but then you have the good ones that are afraid to speak because they're afraid of their counterparts. But there comes a time that people have to say enough is enough.
Right.
Right.
And not only
And
can you
not
do
only can you do
advocacy, but you can
advocacy, but
also
you can
run
also
for
run
your
for your
legislative yourself.
legislative yourself. Mm-hmm.
Don't be
Mm-hmm. And don't be
afraid.
afraid. Don't be afraid. Yeah, you may not get it this time. It may take you to the next election. That's another thing that I've been asked to do. When are you going to get into public office? I am so busy right right now. I would have to. You have to give up something in order to be able to do something else and do it well.
Right.
And
It's all
I,
about
it's all about
balance.
balance. Exactly. So I can't have 20 projects going and and 10 of them are slacking. You either drop the 10 and work on the other 10 and build them up again, or you delegate work out.
Right.
So, right, because we're not paid to compete, we're not paid to go out and make personal appearances, the expense that we incur. That's another thing about pageantry. Pageantry is, there's an expense there. You're interviewing for a position. That position lasts for 1 year where you represent that pageant system and you represent yourself. I I I can honestly tell you that uh, a lot of work goes into it. And if you're
It
not
does.
willing to put the work into it, then you shouldn't get into it.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Hmm.
You're gonna.
You're gonna.
I want to wrap.
I
I
want
know
to
we're
wrap. I
about
know we're
time
about
to wrap this
time to
up.
wrap this up. Hmm.
And sorry, I hear an
Sorry, I
echo.
hear
I
an
don't know if
echo. I
you
don't
hear
know
it.
if you hear it. No, I don't hear it.
Okay, good. It's on
Okay,
my
good.
end.
It's on my end.
So
So
I wanted a
I wanted
fun
a
little
fun
fact
little
here.
fact here.
So
Okay.
you're
So
going to
you're going to
Vegas.
Vegas.
I was
I
just
was
there a
just
couple
there a couple
weekends ago.
weekends ago. Right, right.
It's a lot of
It's a
fun
lot
and
of fun and
lights.
lights.
A lot of
A
things
lot of
are
things are
open.
open.
Is there
Is
anything
there
in
anything in
particular
particular
besides the
besides the
pageant
pageant
that you're
that
looking
you're
forward to
looking forward to
doing in
doing
Vegas
in
while you're
Vegas while
there?
you're there? Well, the most important thing to me is when I get to Vegas is to have the mindset of coming back home with this title. And even if I don't come back home with this title, I am still Miss Pennsylvania Classic Universe for the next year until I crown my successor. But I am looking forward to is meeting my sister queens and my Pennsylvania delegates, Miss Nikki Johnson Houston and Mrs. Samina Mayer Kelly. I'm looking forward to us bonding with all of our other sister queens and building a sisterhood like I built with you and Mama Moody and Blondie and Kim and Cindy. I want to build relationships that last a lifetime. So I'm not looking to do anything other than do the pageant um, because I understand the temperature there is like really, really
It was
it
very
was
hot.
very hot. Yes.
Yes.
So yes. For me, I want to make sure that I want to stay well for the pageant, right? So that means I won't be going out into the public that much. Maybe once when I get there, and then maybe before I leave, because then it won't be so bad. But I think during pageant week, I think I want to be focused on pageantry. I want to be focused on my interview because interview plays an important part in pageantry
Right.
where the interview can make you or break you. So I want to focus a lot on my interview and I want to focus on the reason why I'm there. And that's showing other domestic violence um, victors that you can rise up out of the ashes and you can reach the stars. I'm a perfect example of that. So that's the mindset that I want everybody to take when they look at something that's challenging to them, when they've lost a loved one, or when they've been through a struggle, or when they've lost a job. You can rise up out of the ashes. You just have to believe. Philippians 4:13 tells us, I can do all things through Christ, which strengthens me. So come on, let's
Yes.
go. Yes. Let's put
That's
that smile on
beautiful.
our face and let's make this happen.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you
Well,
so
thank you
much
so
for
much
sharing
for
your
sharing your
heart
heart
and your
and your
passion with us
passion with us
today and
today
giving
and
an
giving an
insight
insight
of what
of
it
what it
takes to
takes to
compete
compete
and
and
letting others
letting
know
others
how they
know
can
how
get
they can get
involved.
involved. I thank you, Trina, for all you do. You know I'm so proud of you because now you're vice president of I Am Love. You're working on very many projects, and you're still doing your painting. You're still motivating people, and I am so proud and happy to call you my sister.
Oh, same
Oh,
here.
same here. Hmm. So we'll be back in August. Now, if I win my title next week, I will do a live for everybody to see. But I want to thank each and every one of our followers, all our new community coffee talk uh, friends who have signed up. We thank you for joining us. We hope that you find our program informative, empowering, and enlightening. Trina and I thank you very much for joining us each month. And hopefully, after September, we'll be able to go back to our regular twice a month sessions with you. But we want you all to stay safe, stay well. Remember, COVID is not over yet. So please adhere to the CDC rules and regulations and follow the rules and regulations of the businesses that you patronize because they want us all to be safe. I love you and we look forward to seeing you back in August.
Yep. Have a great
Have a
week.
great week.
Bye bye. God bless.
Bye.
Bye.
Crown wave, queen wave. See you soon.